Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off lying down. Let your legs come long and heavy in front of you. Bring your arms down to your side. And take these first few moments to connect with your breath. Feel the rise of your belly and chest with every inhale. And with every exhale, allow yourself to sink a little bit deeper and heavier into the ground. Pull your right knee into your chest and bring your left knee up to meet it. Grab hold of fingers, wrists, or forearms, and take a little moment here. You can rock from side to side or maybe make some little circles through your lower back. Keep your right knee pulled into your chest and extend your left leg. Roll out through your right ankle. Take 3 rolls in one direction and 3 rolls in the other direction, just finding a little more mobility in that joint. We're going to start off with some early core work. Bring your hands behind your head and close your elbows in. So your elbows are coming in towards each other. Now lift your shoulder blades up off the ground. Option to stay there or option to lift your bottom left leg. And then start to do little pulses with your elbows up towards your right knee. And even though your elbows are closed in, use your core for this motion. So your abdominals are working, you're pulling your rib cage closer to your hips. Take a few more seconds of this. And then hold, option to hold there or option to extend your arms back long behind you. Hold and stay, pull the belly in, nice big breath in, and then exhale to let that go. Lower the leg, lower the head. And then we will switch. Pull your left knee in towards your chest and extend your right leg long. Take a few moments to roll out through your left ankle. Go in one direction, about 3 circles, and then go in the other direction. Again, just finding some mobility into that joint. And now bring your hands behind your head, close your elbows in, and then use your core strength to lift your head and your shoulders up off the ground. Now you could stay there or you could lift your right leg as well. That's gonna add a little more activation. And then start to take little pulses with your elbows up towards your left knee. The abdominals will constantly contract as you bring your shoulders up a little bit higher. Take a few more and then hold at the top, option to stay, or maybe you lift your arms by your ears. Hold. Take one more breath, and then release. Let everything go. Pull both of your knees into your chest. Catch on behind your thighs. Rock and roll yourself up. We're gonna move to a tabletop position. So however you need to bring yourself with your shoulders over wrists and your hips over your knees. We're gonna start to move through cat and cow. So on your inhale, cow spine, drop your belly, lift your gaze. And on your exhale, cat spine, push into the ground, dome through the upper back. And just keep those motions going, starting to find a little more fluidity and movement into your spine, and also some activation into your core, your shoulders as well. If there's any additional movements you'd like to pepper into this, maybe some rolls in your head or your hips, feel free to add that in. Just make sure that you continue your breath. Take one more round, bring yourself back to neutral tabletop position, flip your toes under, float your knees off the ground just a couple of inches. So we're starting to build a little more heat in your core. Spread your fingers nice and wide. You're nice and long through the back of your neck, and just breathe here. Push into your palms. Feel that activation in your arms, feel your core knitting together. Continue to lengthen through the back of your neck. And then lift your hips up, move to downward facing dog. And take a few moments in this first downward facing dog. You could pedal through your feet or maybe take a little bit of motion through your head or your neck. And then come to more of a neutral position and lift your right leg up. Bend your right knee and open your right hip. However you need to, just finding a little bit of movement into the joints of your right leg. Let it feel good. Can be slow or quick, small or big movements. And now step your right foot so it comes between your hands and lower your back knee down to the ground. So you're coming into a shorter stance lunge. Keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling into an open twist. Push down into your bottom hand, really think of leaning your back towards the left. Now bend your right elbow and bring your hand behind your head. Try to point your right elbow up to the ceiling. You can rotate a little bit more through the heart space. Actively push down into your bottom left hand. Bring your right elbow to your left wrist. Bring it across and rotate. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, point the elbow up. And exhale, bring the elbow to your wrist. One last time, point the elbow up. And then exhale, bring the elbow to your wrist. Now this time, re-extend your right fingertips all the way up and bring your right hand down. Step your left foot forward. You're in a forward fold position. Shake your head yes and no. Allow a little bit of a bend through your knees. Nice and heavy through the torso, easy ragdoll pose. And now soften a little more into your knees and slowly roll yourself up to stand. Think of stacking through the vertebrae. Your hips, your shoulders, your chin, and your gaze are last to arrive. Lift your arms straight up overhead. Find a little bit of a back bend. Push the hips forward, lift open through the heart. Bring your hands to heart center, forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Bring your hands down, step your feet back, you're back in a high plank. Now from your high plank, step your right foot forward into a floating tabletop. Step your left foot forward, and then bring your right foot back and your left foot back. Switch, left foot forward, right foot forward, left foot back, right foot back. Again, continue to alternate right and left. Just starting to build a little more heat in your core by adding some movement. Every time you pull your knees closer to your chest, your core engages a little bit deeper. Continue to take this nice and smooth, out, out, in. We take one more set and then hold in a high plank. From high plank, push your hips up, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up and then bend your left knee, open your hip. Take any small or big movements you need to find through the joints of your left side. Maybe finding something different on our second side. And now step your foot so it comes between your hands. Lower your right knee down to the ground, coming into a little bit of a shorter lunge, more of a 90-90 lunge. Keep your right hand down. You can bring it a little bit out to the right and then reach your left arm up. And really try to lean your torso back. Roll your heart space open to the ceiling and then bend your left elbow, bring your hand behind your head. Point your elbow up to the ceiling and now bring your elbow down to your right wrist. And take that again, point your elbow up to the ceiling, rotate through the chest. And exhale, bring the elbow to the wrist. We do this one more time. Inhale to roll your heart open and exhale, elbow to wrist. Now re-extend your left arm all the way up towards the ceiling and then bring your left hand down, step your right foot forward for ragdoll forward fold. Moving a little quicker this time, slowly start to roll yourself up to stand. Reach your arms straight forward, straight up, and find just a little bit of a back bend here. Push your hips forward, crack open through your heart. Bring your hands to heart center, forward fold. Soften through your knees, inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, high plank, bring your hands down, step your feet back. Coming into another round of core. Step your right toes out to the right, bring them in. Step your left toes out to the left, bring them in. Continue with this movement, right toes out, left toes out. All the while, try to keep your hips very still. Your hips are not moving. They're staying to the same level. Your shoulders are right over your wrists. Nothing else is moving except for your legs, just going side to side. And then push yourself up, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up. And step your right foot so it comes between your hands. Lower your left knee. Keep your left hand to the ground. Reach your right arm up for a twist. Something a little different here. Take your right fingertips all the way up and over, like a big arc over towards your left hand. And then come out of it the same way you came into it and reach your right fingertips back up. And take that again. Your right arm goes all the way up, all the way over. And then paint the ceiling as you bring your right fingertips back up. Continue these motions, rounding over to that diagonal, and then rotating your heart back open to the ceiling, and maybe you're moving a little slower, a little quicker. And then after your last time, reach your right fingertips back up, bring your right hand down to the mat, forward fold, step your left foot up towards your right, bend your knees, roll yourself to stand, reach your fingertips forward and up, find an easy back bend. Bring your hands to prayer, forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale for high plank. We're coming into another core activator. Pull your right knee into your chest. Tap the right shin to the ground. Lift the right knee and step back to plank, and then repeat on the left side. Pull the left knee in, lower the shin to the ground, lift the knee up, and then step it back to plank. And continue to alternate right and left. And your hips are going to dip a little bit as you dip that shin, but try not to completely release through your abdominals so that your lower back is continuously supported. Take one more time, meet back in high plank and push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Step your left foot between your hands. Lower your back knee down to the mat. That's similar lunge, 90-90 lunge. Place your right hand slightly out to the right side and reach your left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And now take your left hand up and over, big arcing motion up and over to the right. And then open up through the left fingertips and do that again. The left hand will come all the way up, all the way over, nice arcing motion. And then open up towards the ceiling and just keep these motions going, continuously pushing your hip over to the left. Nice big arcing motions. And then after your last one, bring your left hand back down to the mat, come to a forward fold. Step your right foot up to meet your left, soften your knees, roll yourself up to stand. You can find a little shimmy shake as you come up, reach your fingertips forward, find a little back bend, push the hips forward, open through the chest, hands to prayer, forward folds. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Coming into another set of core activation. Bend your right knee, dip it down to the ground, and then bend your left knee. And we're just gonna continue with this easy tread. Bend each knee. Maybe it doesn't make it all the way down to the mat, that's okay. Just treading through, trying to keep everything else still. That's part of the core activation here. And then push yourself back to downward facing dog. Lower down to your knees, come to stand on your knees, and then step your right foot in front of you. Bring your hands to your hips, and then start to tuck your pelvis under, and as you do that, pull your chin to your chest. Now hold there and try to push your hips a little further forward. So we're getting deeper and deeper into the left hip flexor. Keep that deep tuck of the pelvis as much as you can. And you can kind of rock forwards and backwards here, but try to maintain that tuck of the pelvis. So we really feel the pull into the left hip flexor. Just continue these easy rocks, forwards and backwards. Pelvis is deeply tucked. And then come out of this, you can find a little bit of a longer lunge. Lower your back knee down to the mat. Bring your hands down to frame your right foot. Drop your head, drop your torso, and breathe here. Nothing else. Just a very heavy stretch, heavy hips, heavy torso. Find full big breaths in and full exhales. And again, nice full big breaths in and full exhales. And every exhale, maybe you feel the sensation of your hips getting a little bit heavier. Then slowly start to push out of this. Bring yourself back to stand on your knees. Roll your body up and we will switch to the opposite side. Step your left foot in front. Bring your hands to your hips. You can use your hands on your hips to manually tuck your pelvis under. Lower your chin down to your chest and then try to push your hips forward. And then start this very gentle little rock going forwards and backwards. And maybe you have to heel toe that left foot a little bit further forward. But more than anything, try to maintain the tuck of the pelvis. Push the hips forward. Feel that pull into the right hip flexor. And take this a few more times, just easy kind of rocks forwards and backwards. And then bring both of your hands down to the ground. Elongate your stance if you want to bring your left foot a little further forward. And then let your head and your chest and your hips be heavy. And use your breath as your tool here. Every exhale, allow yourself to get a little bit heavier into the posture. And then we will slowly come out of this. We're gonna come down to a seat. So however you need to bring yourself to a seat, swing your legs around, stretch your legs in front of you. And when you're ready, start to release yourself into your seated forward fold. If you've got a bend of your knees, it's no big deal. If you wanna try to stay in a flat spine, you can try to stay into that. Allow your torso to be heavy, allow your jaw to be loose. And breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Now slowly roll yourself up and bring yourself all the way down onto your back. Once again, pull your right knee into your chest, the same way we kind of began at the beginning here. And now take your right knee across your body to the left for a supine spinal twist. You can T or cactus your arms out. You can bring your gaze over to the right. And find big belly breaths here. Let your belly rise and fall. And now slowly pull your right knee back to center. Give your right knee another little tug, and we will switch this to the other side. Pull your left knee in, extend the right leg long, and take your left knee across your body to the right. And T or cactus your arms out, bring your gaze over to the left. And return to those big belly breaths. Nice big breath in, and full big breath out. And again, nice big breath in, and full big breath out. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Left knee pulls in. Bring your right knee up to meet it. And take a few moments here with your knees into your chest. And then start to extend your legs out long and heavy in front of you. Bring your arms down to your side. You could bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Allow your eyes to close in just the same way that we began our sequence today. Coming back to your breath. Thank you for joining us. And that's your flow.